a lot this summer about areas you wanted to improve, how you worked at it. How has that gone? Do you feel like you're better in those areas, shooting, ball handling, distribution, those things?
Yeah, I think the two biggest areas I wanted to focus on were being able to hit open shots and, my assist to turnover ratio has to be significantly better than it has been in the last 2 years. And, you play how you practice, and Hugs has preached that to me and our whole team. And so far, he's not always too big on compliments. That's not how he works a lot of the times, but I've heard him say to me a couple of times that I'm shooting it a lot better. I look at my percentages after practice every day in our 5-on-5 drills. And, my biggest thing is going through a 3-hour practice and not having a single turnover. That's my goal every day. And that's going to probably, it'll carry over into the game. And my assist turnover would be a lot better. And percentages are going to go up too, just based on confidence and some things I changed over the summer.
Michael Sussman.
What's your mindset kind of as a floor general within this offense as you try to create opportunities for yourself and your teammates?
I mean, it's another year deeper now for me to understand our offense, to know when to use certain sets, certain continuities that we have. We try to keep it pretty simple with our offense. It's not, anything crazy. I think if you watch it on TV more than once, you'll start to pick it up. But that's not necessarily the most important thing for me. Little things like who's coming open first, who's coming open second, third, are things Hugs has preached to me. Who's got the hot hand, all this stuff is just basketball IQ plays. And in terms of watching the game of basketball, digesting it, being a student of the game, those are some things that I continue to do over the summer.
We'll go now to Cody Nesper.
Hey, Jordan. How different is it this year where there's a bunch of returners as to last year when there were a lot of newcomers on the team?
It's significantly different. We have a different kind of, vibe and aura around the practices. It's heavily based around how competitive are we? Are we bringing enough energy? And less about, do guys know the plays? Are we all on the same page with what we're doing when it comes to game time? We're very comfortable in that way. So it's nice to be able to because no good team has to focus on that. If you have to focus on, is everybody on the same page? Does everybody know what they need to know? Do we all know sets? I mean, we're 2 weeks out from game time. The biggest thing we want to be focusing on right now is competing and playing at the highest level and fixing all the small things, not the large, like I said, do we know what we're doing when we get out there? I think we're all pretty much on the same page, and that's significantly because of having so many people returning.
Next is Kevin Kinder.
Jordan, you touched on a couple of these things just a second ago, but how much of what you do as a point guard isn't measurable by assist to turnover ratio, things like that? Things like just getting the ball to the right spot, making the pass that leads to the pass. And how do you practice and work on those things in the off season?
That's a great question. A lot of things don't show up on the stat sheet for point guards, and sometimes undervalued, sometimes questioned in the media or just in viewers' eyes. But you work on them through practices. You work on them through live game scenarios. There's no drills you can do for understanding the flow of the game. You have to watch a lot of basketball. You have to be constantly absorbing things from other people. And that's what I try to do as much as I can. And yeah, that's pretty much it on that.
Justin Jackson, you're up.
Hey, Jordan, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Hey, you were kind of talking earlier about last year was kind of a process of getting guys on the same page, learning plays. Kind of along those lines, it was a process for Derek and Oscar as well, learning to play with another big on the floor. And then there's a system of you guys trying to get them involved, and there's a system of them trying to get the right spacing. And I'm sure it probably kind of maybe felt forced or looked forced at times last year. Kind of talk about year two of that transition in terms of getting guys on the perimeter shots, but then also, you know, they're the big guys down low who are big keys to the season. Just kind of talk about that transition in year 2.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak specifically on, you know, how they're doing with it. I can't imagine being a 7-footer and having to play with, you know, another close to 7-footer, 6'8", 6'10", whatever you want to list Oscar at. He'll tell you he's 6'11", but he's not. You know, it's not easy. Those are guys who take up a lot of space. Those are guys who play, you know, differently, but are at the same position. And, you know, some people are like, oh, why do you, you know, play them together? Why wouldn't you rotate them in and out? You know, that would be extremely difficult to defend. And, you know, theoretically that's a great idea. But if you're Hugs, which potential lottery pick are you going to tell I'm going to bring off the bench? I mean, it's just not an easy scenario to deal with. And you have to kind of let them learn how to play with each other. And we're doing that a lot in practice. We have a scrimmage today. We had a scrimmage inter-squad last week as well. And these are times for them to really get more of a feel because it's controlled in practice. We're doing live 5-on-5 drills, but when we're really just kind of let go for 40 minutes like we're going to do here in a few hours, that's when Derek and Oscar can really continue to develop how to play high to low, block to block with each other. It's not easy. I've watched it for 2 years now, and it's something that I'm glad I don't have to deal with. You know, there's advantages to being 5'10". You don't take up that much space on the basketball court, but they're getting there. Everybody else is falling right in line. They have so many different like skill sets and attributes to their games that are different. They complement each other when they're both locked in and ready to play. And majority of our practices this year, they've been that way. So.
Go ahead, John.
Hey, Jordan, I don't know if you guys have talked about this as a team, but, you know, the best team this year might not be the most talented team, but the team that remains intact the longest because of the virus. And I know you come from a state that's really hit hard with the virus. Have you guys discussed that as a team and as players? Hey, you know, we need to take care of ourselves because this thing is so prevalent and it could really wreck your season?
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing a lot of different stuff. There's so many unknowns with this virus and everything that's going on around the country, and you pray everybody just stays safe. But at the same time, we want to play basketball. I mean, that's what we came here to do. We think you can do it in a safe, you know, and reasonable manner. And, you know, shout out to the NCAA and the Big 12 for, you know, at least putting the steps forward right now to make that happen, whereas other leagues aren't, you're seeing right now. Yeah, we've talked about it as a team. We if you want to do something on a Saturday night, call up a teammate, call up a group of teammates, and that's what we do. I mean, we get together. Once again, you're going to hear it. I think all the way through my career, I've been blessed with teams that are extremely tight knit, and this team is no different. And maybe the most tight knit group I've been a part of. If we need to, you know, do something, we're going to do it as a team. We're not going to feel the need to go out and do certain things that are going to jeopardize our season. And none of us are doctors, so nobody knows what this means. If you've already had it, can you get it again? A lot of things are just kind of up in the air, so we're going to try to maintain as much consistency with how we go about our daily lives, especially as we move closer to the season. And what that really means is, yeah, it's not ideal. We would like to be able to, you know, do certain things in our, you know, life away from basketball, but you can't. If you want to play, you're not going to jeopardize it. And we're all pretty much on the same page. And Hugs has voiced his opinion on that multiple times. Like you said, the team that wins the national championship this year may not be, you know, the most skilled, the most talented, or even the best team, but the one that stays completely intact, healthy, full roster, and focused and disciplined. I think those are two things that we need to continue to be, and we have been, you know, up until this point.
Real quick, do you make it a point to maybe try to avoid your classmates a little bit just because of the virus? And
I'm in all online classes, and I think a majority of our upperclassmen, due to school rules, are online. I think underclassmen have a few classes in class, but yeah, I would imagine they, you know, distance themselves and try to be responsible socially with that stuff. But in terms of my everyday life, you do what you can. I mean, if somebody still wants to, get a picture, I put my mask on and we take a picture, or, talk to somebody, keep your distance. And it's just learning how to, live life in this crazy time that everybody else is dealing with the same type of thing. What adjustments do you make? There's just a little bit more riding on it for guys like us right now.
Last couple for Jordan. Go ahead, Greg.
Jordan, what have you seen out of Sean and Taz? Obviously, their improvement in shooting outside, like yours, is key for this year.
It's like watching two heavyweights go at it every day. Someone's swinging for the fences. Last Friday, I don't know if he told you, but Taz went 8 for 8 from 3. That's not bad. He had almost 30 points in our scrimmage, and he looked unbelievable. Times before that and times after that, Sean has looked like he's unconscious out there and hits every shot that he takes. But those two right now are, maybe the most complete scorers, I think, when it comes to catching the ball on the perimeter and being able to break people down. They're extremely talented, and excited to see them both develop, on the court this year. Me and Taz actually had a funny moment in the weight room. We had kind of compared – so they had wrote up on a whiteboard and compared all the numbers from last year. I can't remember what game it was, but our scrimmage, we ran like 3+ miles. They track all of our stuff. And then me and Taz both ran 3 miles. And then they compared it to a game last year. And like I said, I don't remember the game, but we ran like 0.9 miles and played like 8 minutes and 6 minutes as individuals. And we both kind of laughed and said, well, it won't be that way this year. And like I said, that's just a testament to how much he's come along, how much I've come along, how much Sean's come along, and are extremely confident going into this season and ready to win.
Okay, the final question for you, Jordan, is from Mike Kazaza.
Hey, Jordan, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Hugs mentioned some of the fixes, I guess, with your shot. I'm assuming like mechanically. I'm curious, like two parts here. One, what did you discover and try to repair? And then how do you do that in a virtual sense with a trainer, right? Is that in person? Is that over video? And how do you vet that with Huggins via Zoom or FaceTime or whatever, and him giving you tips and, the back and forth when you're quite a distance between you two?
Yeah, well, I'll be completely honest. It wasn't virtual at all over the summer. I don't know if I'll get ridiculed or not for that, but I went back home during the first few months of this all the craziness, and I have somebody I trust pretty much with everything in terms of basketball. That being Jason Otter, and he lives in Michigan. So I drove from Wisconsin to Michigan. It was like an 11-hour trip, and I stayed with him for a week. And when I say break down a shot, I mean I didn't take a shot outside of 5 feet for those entire 2 weeks. I mean, everything was form. Everything was, monotonous and detailed, and video work and, reviewing that kind of stuff. That was one aspect of it. And then also working with Ryan Borowitz, who was a, excellent shooter for the University of Green Bay back in the Bennett era. And he has a gym in Green Bay, Wisconsin, where I went to work out during all the craziness. And because he owns it, it was something where, we stayed socially distant, and he was allowed to open under certain guidelines and stuff like that. But me and Ryan worked side by side for 2-3 months that I was home. And between those two guys, I've kind of broken down my shot completely. And then Hugs has just been somebody who's, more or less been somebody to co-sign that, that's kind of what I've been wanting you to see you do. But me just saying it isn't going to fix it. You're going to have to, take some extreme steps, as I did this summer. And now it's just kind of maintenance on the shot. And, daily in practice, Hugs is always looking at it. And if he sees something, he says something. And that's pretty much that.